I gave him a 10-minute warning that we were filming and he went to take a poo. Like, why, bro?
You gotta go.
Men half listen, and I'm like, okay, 10-minute warning. 9 minutes later, he went to take a poo. Like, oh my gosh. But that's not what this video is about, so what's up, you guys? Welcome back. Today I have Reece with me to share the story of surviving being curb stomped. Like, you were the toughest man ever. It's insane. But I want you to start all the way back. We need all the deets on being in the military and where this took place, and I might tease you a little bit.
That's cool. You know, I guess if it gets too brutal, we can always edit over it, right?
No way.
All right. Either tough or lucky. I guess you got to pick one.
He's tough and lucky, but...
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
60-40 split. All right.
60-40.
Where do you want me to start?
Well, you signed up for the military and you went to some place, so let's start there.
Okay. Signed up for the military.
Do you want me to hold your coffee?
No, I'm cool. I can hold my own coffee.
Okay, I'll be your coffee holder.
Yeah.
I talk with my hands, so I'm like, I'll help you.
Sit me. Hit me. Gatorade me, bitch.
Oh my god. Oh, didn't you miss him? They missed you.
Okay, so yeah, I joined the Army out of school, 18, didn't want to go to college, didn't have a plan, so I thought, what the heck? Rambo looked cool on the films when I was little, so I can do that too, right?
Chuck Norris, logic here.
Yeah, Chuck Norris is definitely my dad's hero, so I followed in the footsteps.
Time out. I'm going to insert a picture of Reece in his camo gear at 8 years old.
That's an awesome picture. Okay, so go through basic training, airborne, ranger school, yada yada yada, all that. I don't say get deployed yet, so we're gonna say I get sent. My station is overseas in Italy. It's about 45 minutes west of Venice. It's called Vicenza. It's a small base, but they started building it up, and I think in an effort in the probably the anticipation of the invasion of Iraq, which I think the Pentagon and the DoD and everybody knew was going to happen way before it did. They were starting to build up the airborne deployment unit there, and they went from a small base that probably had about 1 battalion, which I'm trying to give people like a scalable estimate of what that looks like. It's maybe about 400 or 500 people. So they added an extra battalion there, so you can imagine they built up into about a 1,000-person deployable brigade. Okay, so what they've done here is they've sent us all over there. We're training. We go to Germany and things like that nature for all your exercises, your weapons training, and all that jazz.
It rains a lot in Germany?
It rains a lot in Germany, yeah.
After Germany, did you go to Italy? Or was Italy first before Germany?
I was stationed in Italy. We went to Germany 30 days, 45 days at a time. They have military bases up there. Obviously they established those after World War II. I think, if I can remember correctly, the names, Grafenwar was one of them, and I forget what the other was, but one was specifically just for weapons training. It was less tactical, and it was more about, procedure and things like that. And then they used another base that was for, like I said, tactical training, squad invasion kind of type exercises. They would jump us in out of planes, and then we would have sort of, specific missions that we were supposed to run through the exercise. They would have Op 4, which is, opposition team guys that were obviously U.S. Army too, but they were supposed to be guys that were operating against us. It's kind of like real life Call of Duty, if people want some sort of frame of reference. So that was kind of neat. But coming back, we'll kind of catch up to where we're going to come to the curb stomping scene here. So we would deploy up there for a period of time, 30, 45 days, and then we came back once. And obviously I made a video prior with you talking about kind of the heavy drinking culture in the military. It was very accepted. It was just part of the norm. It's what we did. So I think I fell into that kind of, that lifestyle pretty easily. It was definitely, it went along with, my personality, my addictive personality, and what I did. So we came back, and just like always, you're up there for 30, 45 days. You're training the whole time. You're on low sleep. You're not eating great food. You come back to the base, and everybody's just ready to party. Everybody's ready to go out, let your hair down, so to speak, kind of cut loose. And this was kind of a regular thing for us. I think I've gone up there several times before I actually deployed to Iraq. And one of the times we had come back, was this, I'm trying to think, was this before or after Iraq? Oh gosh. This was after.
Really?
This was after. Yeah, this was after. So, same story. Trained for Iraq, deployed to Iraq, come back.
How long were you in Iraq before you went back this last time?
To Germany? I think we jumped in March 23rd, 2003, so we had a pretty long deployment because I don't think they were prepared for timelines, exit strategy, any of that. Yeah. They kind of went, 2 feet in and then didn't really figure out how they were going to pull us out. So I think I was there 18 months. With the understanding that when we were loading the plane, everybody was like, 90 days, man. 90 days, we're just going to jump in, we're going to take a couple airfields, we're going to kick the crap out of these guys, and then the reinforcements are going to come and all the tough guys are going to go home.
So you're the first guys on the ground.
Yeah, we're like 90 days. We're going to come in, do all the dirty work, secure some air bases so they can start landing planes. We're going home. You know what I mean? So, 90 days comes and goes. 6 months. 6 months. We just need need a little bit more work from us. We understand what we got to do. 6 months came and went. And long story short, finally 18 months, later, we get on planes and we come home. All right. So, you get back, you kind of do the thing, like I said, everybody's happy to be home, happy to be back in Italy, everybody's kind of cutting loose for the most part for the first, I think, month or so coming back. We did very little work. We pretty much just showed up hungover to kind of salute in the morning and then say, all right, we're here. And then everybody got off at noon. So we started, going back to our training regimen. We deployed to Germany. And I think it might have been like my second trip back up. We came back and, like I said, same thing. Everybody's ready to kind of cut loose, go out. And I went out with some buddies. And I remember, like I said, at this point in time, my drinking tolerance was probably at a very high level. You had some practice. I had some practice. I would have to say I was the Kobe Bryant of blackout drinking. So I was definitely at full crossover mode into the net. So I was ready to go. So this is why it was a little shocking to me. Came back, I went out with some friends, and the only thing I remember before kind of coming to out of a blackout is having my second drink out at the first bar we went to out on the town. So when I kind of came to after, that's the last thing I remember, I came to in a friend's car as the sun's coming up, and I'm sitting in the passenger seat, and I kind of, when I'm starting to kind of, get some reference on my surroundings and kind of grab onto what's happened, I realize my face hurts, and I've worn a full button up white shirt, kind of dress shirt out, obviously trying to pick up some Italian ladies. And I look down and the whole front of it is pretty much dark red. And I notice my face hurts, and I kind of check, and I've essentially, my whole side of my jaw has been smashed in. And it has split the front side of my jawbone in half, and about 3 or 4 of these teeth here are sitting in front of my left side of my teeth. So I kind of have that look, like a shark look. I've got two sets of teeth here. So do you think we can zoom in on the scar?
Yeah, hell yeah, we can.
So if you can get close enough, you can see here, they cut behind the ear, and then they peeled all the way down the side of my neck when they did this. Okay, so that was a pretty extensive face smashing experience that I had there. I think, at first I was really unclear about what had happened. They got me to the base, we got on, everybody noticed it was probably kind of an emergency. This is like 4:30 in the morning. So people are coming in, and somebody realizes we got to get me to the hospital. And the Italian system is kind of like the Canadian healthcare system. It's single payer. You can just walk in, and so they admit me, and I don't remember a whole lot, at first about what happened. I do remember, and the first thing I remember after coming into the hospital is kind of coming out of being put under, okay? And I slowly, they've brought me out of anesthesia, and maybe I was erratic, probably because of my size. I was pretty big in the military, and well. and the stigma that comes with U.S. soldiers and their behavior over there. I was strapped down. My whole body was, and all I could remember is I was strapped down. And I couldn't move, and I could feel a choking sensation because they were pulling the tube out of my throat, from being under, and I didn't know what was going on. So that was a little scary. I think for about 15-20 seconds, I was probably in full panic mode. I didn't know what was going on. And then I kind of remember coming back to in a hospital bed, and my face had been kind of wired shut. So, you know, and I had this scar here where they had cut behind my ear, down the side of my throat, and peeled my face open, and started to pull back and reconstruct all this jawbone and put the tendons back, refasten the front side of my jaw, and I've got 2 big plates here pinned together. Luckily, I didn't lose any teeth.
That's crazy.
I know. You would have thought I'd have lost some teeth, right?
Yeah.
So all my teeth are still intact. It is a very interesting experience when I go to the dentist, though. I look a little bit like Wolverine. Every time somebody new takes an x-ray of my face, they come back and they go, "Did you have some work done?" I'm like, "Picked up on that, did you, Captain Obvious?" So, yeah.
Just some plastic surgery from that one time.
And I've got lots of scarring inside here where you can tell my mouth has definitely been reattached several places up under the gum. So all these tendons were reconstructed, and my face, you know, luckily it's pretty even. The Italians did a pretty good job. It was, you know, it was very extensive. It was invasive. I was pretty sore, very swollen up. I had a drain outside my neck. And like I said, as far as, you know, you know, you can feel a little bit that this side of my face doesn't quite have the same structure as this side, but they really did a good job. I got to give them that. But I didn't realize the healing process and the pain my body would be under, because I was out for about 9 hours, somewhere close. So
that's a long time to be under.
Because it was hard on my body to be under anesthetic that long. I think I peed green for a few days. It was definitely difficult to get up and move around, even though they had to. And obviously, being in an Italian hospital, nobody spoke English. Right. The food was rough. I remember I did have one of those cool clickers where they would come in, roll me over, give me a shot of morphine, and I would have fun. My face would get warm for about 30 minutes and I'd pass out. So that clicker was my friend, my best friend for the first 2 or 3 days. I was definitely just kind of going in and out of it and eating whatever mush and straw they brought me, because my jaw couldn't chew. So kind of to piece together what had happened, because this came later, I remember, you know, after getting some stories from some of the people that I was with, you know, and it was definitely that blackout scenario that you get where, you know, when you start trying to collect the events of the night and you're speaking to several people that you don't remember seeing.
It's like the movie The Hangover.
It is, yeah. And they're like, "Oh yeah, you were here, totally, with like a bunch of guys, and this was going on." You're like, "Don't remember that at all." All I remember is the first bar I went to and ordering my second beer. And we'll segue that entry point in the story into what we believe actually happened to me. So I'm piecing all this kind of together, and it starts to kind of come back to me as I'm talking to people. And we had gone to a bar, and I kind of remember coming to the last bar, the place where it happened. And northern Italy is very heavy on Moroccan gangs and northern African gangs. And, you know, obviously that they love to attack tourists, U.S. soldiers that have been drinking, you know, they're easy targets. I was probably, you know, drunk, belligerent, you know, looking for a fight, probably starting some shit, so to speak. And I probably asked for it. I think I engaged in, you know, a set of guys that were probably, you know, out at the club, at the after hours bar, getting tough. You know, I obviously thought I was too. And they took the opportunity as I was alone, walking outside of the bar drunk, to go smoke or use the phone or text a girl, you know, whatever I was doing. They used that as the opportunity to catch me alone. And so they funneled out right behind me outside the bar. And unbeknownst to me, I found this out later, that the owner or the bartender, or whoever it was, knew what was about to happen, ran to the front of the door and locked it so nobody could come back in, so the fight couldn't spill back in. And all, you know, the people I was with saw that, and I was out there by myself, and that's when they hit me. And I pretty much got rolled up. And, you know, it was, you know, I shouldn't tell that Theo Vaughn story. It's probably a bad description of what goes on. Anyway, you know, if you're that drunk and you're fighting, you're pretty much, you know, and you're outnumbered, I can probably handle myself, but they were getting the best of me. So, yeah, go ahead.
Do you think you were drugged?
Yes, and that's what I think happened. So, you know, to kind of wrap the story, I ended up down on the floor, and I remember kind of scrambling, and I remember being kind of like putting my hand down and coming up, and I was right up against like where a curb or like the end, you know, a sidewalk was, and all I remember is just the hit. And I guess maybe that is what kind of knocked me out of it, you know, when I came kind of in and out of the blackout, the drunk that I was in. And I guess what that was my face being just crushed down into the sidewalk or the curb or whatever it was. So miraculously, I had lost no teeth, had my phone, had my wallet, had everything. Just lost a little.
They just really didn't freaking like you. They didn't want your shit.
Yeah,
they just did not.
That was it. That was the point. So kept everything, just lost a little bit of pride. So so what I think happened and what I believe happened, and I can't prove it, but I didn't get a drug panel, but having just that second beer is all I remember. They tell you over there, watch your drink, don't leave your drink unattended. People will drug you, and being like I said, the high level NBA first ballot Hall of Fame drinker that I was, I think somebody probably slipped a roofie or a Xanax or something in my drink, and that's probably what escalated my blackout so fast, because there's no way, and this was like probably 8:30 when we went out, and I came to in a full blackout drunk 4:30 in the morning with my face kicked in. That's a full 9 hours plus of drinking, wandering around in a blackout. So I believe something like that happened. I can't prove it, but I'm willing to stipulate that the odds are pretty good.
So do you just remember little flashes, like you said, of touching the ground and seeing the curb? You remember tiny little blips like that?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, it's probably, when you hear people being roofied or roofling, I think it mirrors a lot of that experience. I can just remember little ins and outs of it. So it was definitely not a fun scenario. It was a hard recovery. It makes for a great story later, It does.
This is actually our first conversation. We went to a Christmas party where we fell in love, and I'm like, what is this scar? And he's got several. We're also going to tell a story of him burning half of his face off and almost losing his ear. It's a great story.
We're just going to lay it all out.
We're going to lay it all out. So stay tuned for that video. I think you're so badass. You're so tough. And I love that story. I don't love that it happened to you, but I think it's a crazy story that it's like, bro, you got freaking curb stomped.
And it would be I think it probably falls in line with the topic of addiction.
Yeah.
Your channel's message that
what happens
when you drink and do drugs and don't take care of yourself? You get your face kicked in.
Yeah. How old were you?
I couldn't have been.
You can drink in Italy at 18.
20. Yeah, you can drink in Italy at 18. So I was 20 or so, yeah. And this scar was very, very prevalent, for a long time. It's kind of faded a little bit. And, Jessica always gives me crap about my crooked smile because I always kind of tilt when I smile a little bit. And it's because I know my face is just a little bit off balance. But I got to give, if you're watching, major props to the doctors that put my face back together. So I was very, very lucky, but at the same time, you think this would have been one of those coined like aha moments where I probably shouldn't be doing this. I probably shouldn't be behaving this way.
Never crossed your mind.
No, I think I was probably, as soon as my face could open up and chew some Taco Bell and knock down another beer, I was probably out and about. So lesson learned, the hard way for sure. But it does make a great backstory, and I think that, hopefully your viewers love it.
I know they will. They love you, and we missed you, so I can't wait to have you back on.
All right.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We love you. Stay safe, stay sober, and stay on the lookout for Reece burning his face off video, because we're definitely going to film that for you guys.
All right.
See ya.
Thanks.